Welcome back. Segment 3 of February the 14th's discussion with all you folks out there. And we've been discussing how the US individual states compare to national states' GDP outputs across the globe. Interesting discussion. On this one, we're going to focus on, as Greg had alluded to at the end of the last segment, Texas, the state of Texas, versus the economy of Russia. And they are, give or take, $1.75 trillion economies, both of them. And what are the similarities? What are the differences? I pointed out the colors of their flags are exactly the same. But that being said, Greg, where are the differences? What are the similarities?
Okay, this is really interesting. So happy Valentine's Day to all our listeners. We'll put a link to this article down below so you can check it out whilst we're talking. So let me give you a few facts here. The population in 2018 of Texas was 29.3 million people. The equivalent in Russia was 144 million people, so quite considerably more people.
More than 4 times.
The GDP, as you mentioned, was 1.7 trillion in Texas. It's actually slightly lower in Russia. It was 1.28, so call it 1.3 trillion.
Sorry,
so slightly
correct, yeah.
lower.
Mm-hmm.
So here, of course, is where the super interesting thing is the GDP per capita, because there's so many less people in Texas. So Texas GDP per capita is $58,000
A year.
a year per person versus Russia, which is $8,700. So there you have it. I mean, that's all the difference there. Here are some other interesting snippets that in comparing the two states. You know, Texas is huge, no doubt, a massive state. Russia is actually the largest landmass nation state in the world. And what's kind of interesting about Russia is the climate change that's going on is actually causing some thawing, if you will, in the Siberian Peninsula.
In northern Russia, right?
And what it's doing, it's actually uncovering some, land masses which hadn't really been explored before, and they're discovering a good amount of ore deposits, as you would expect, beneath there. So Russia is perhaps a lot wealthier than we even do believe, but they've got to extract the materials out the ground. So that said, Russia produces 10.9 million barrels of oil per day, comparing to Texas, which is producing 4 million per day. In our previous segment, we spoke about, I guess, the diverse economy of Texas. To restate that, Texas has got an agricultural economy, very large in technology, aeronautics and defense, biotech, and we mentioned Austin being one of the movie capitals now.
And music in that regard, so yes, indeed.
Right. As far as Russia is concerned, is very well known for its, I guess, natural resources. And one thing I will point out about Russia is the Russian stock market, unbeknownst, I think, to a lot of people, has recently broken out higher,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting given the
Oil
problems.
price is substantially lower, which was very aligned to historically.
Right. So that's one to watch out, and we don't know the full details about why that is yet. In the fullness of time, that might be apparent. The other really key element, I guess, which is preventing full growth in Russia is the corruption. I mean, Russia is, I think it was voted as mentions it in the article, maybe the 150th most corrupt country in the world out of 180. So it's really down there,
So it's in the top 30 of the most corrupt countries.
That's right. Yeah. Being the bottom is the worst.
Yeah.
Whereas Texas, certainly there's corruption wherever you go, but it's not on that such a grand scale.
Not even close.
Which again I think contributes to wealth inequality and probably to entrepreneurialism. Right. The less corruption, the more entrepreneurism you get. So that's it, folks. That's our 2 articles. Great comparison, a fun discussion to have.
And I guess that leaves you with just once again reiterating how large, how effective, how big the US economy really is relative to anything else out there in the world. $13.1 trillion is the Chinese economy, compared to $21 odd trillion. The US economy has some way to go to catch us. Will they ever? I don't think so. Most people do. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there, and we look forward to doing this again very soon. Greg, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Everyone, take care.